Hello, viewers. Welcome to Disease Reversal and Mitigation Studio. We are greatly indebted to God for this wonderful and blessed day and for the peace He has granted us to be able to share in another very important topic on the 10 commandments of health. And we have a mnemonic to enable us to remember these 10 commandments. Now, the commandments are outlined as follows. We will start with nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, trust in God, earthing, and we shall end with resonance. And we'll be looking at a brief summary of what all these laws entail. Now let's start with nutrition. It's important to understand the aspects of a good and a healthy nutrition. Maybe in future we'll have a lot to discuss on each of these health laws. But for today, what defines a good nutrition? Good nutrition has to entail living food because it's only living food that can give us health. Dead food will never give us health. And to be able to know whether the food you're eating is living or dead, then it has to have ability to give you energy. It has to contain living nutrients. And most of these foodstuffs are eaten raw. They have enzymes in them. They have nutrients, vitamins that are intact in them. And that is why we say they are living food. Anytime you overcook food, it becomes dead. And maybe the only bit that is remaining in that food are mineral ions which do not die with cooking. So it applies to any overcooked food. And by the way, dead food can also be obtained from dead animals because animals are never eaten until they are dead. So we need to target for living food. The other aspect is that food should be in its natural taste and state to be good for your nutrition. Therefore, we need to go for foods that are not processed, that have not been transformed, foods that are coming naturally from the garden. And this garden should not have been interfered with modern day methods of agriculture, such as spraying of chemicals and such. So we say the food should be in its natural state. The other aspect of good food, it should be a balanced diet. So all the 7 categories of food should be included in your diet for you to say that you have the best quality of food. Therefore, your food has to have carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, mineral ions. It has to have fiber and it has to have water that is originally part of that food. Then that food should be adequate. It should not be in excess. We should always eat food that is adequate. So we are not supposed to underfeed or overfeed because those two will lead to malnutrition. Then food should be eaten at the right time. It should be timely. So we have times for eating food, and he said the most important meal of the day is the breakfast, and we need to have another meal 7 hours later. So we should not snack in between the meals, and we should avoid 3 meals in a day because the more meals you eat in a day, the more burden you add to your body. So food should be timely, and we should target to eat food when our bodies are most active, that is in the morning. And late after 7 hours, you can have your last meal late in the afternoon, latest at 3, so that that food can easily be digested. Then the other aspect of good nutrition is that you have to observe food trophology. So trophology simply means good food combinations, because when certain foods are combined, they cause poor digestion. For example, if you combine meat and carbohydrates such as ugali, you're going to slow digestion. Therefore, we should attempt at combining foods which are compatible and easily digestible if they're eaten together. And we will come to discuss all these aspects when we'll be dealing with the topic of nutrition exclusively. The other aspect we need to consider when eating food is that food should be easily digestible and it should be eaten in the right manner. So food should not only be just pumped into a hungry stomach. We should observe rules of good ingestion, such as proper mastication, we say not less than 35 times, and food should be converted to paste in the mouth. It should be combined with saliva properly because digestion starts in the mouth. Now, let's move to the next commandment, and this is exercise. So, how many people exercise today? You need to exercise on a daily basis, and I'll give you the aspects of good exercise. Number one is that anybody who goes for exercise should have the ability to do so. Therefore, these people should not be sickly because we discourage exercise among people who have heart failure, kidney problems, liver problems, heart problems, because it might worsen your condition. Therefore, if you have any of these chronic conditions, consult with your doctor first before you take up this important commandment we call exercise. Secondly, the other aspect of exercise that is recommended for good exercise is that it has to engage all the body muscles. So, you ever thought of any exercise that could engage all the muscles of the body? Then it's the running exercise, whereby you move your neck, you move your hands, you move your legs. So any exercise that is going to engage all the muscles of the body is recommended. And that is why we discourage weightlifting, because it does not strain all the muscles of the body. The other aspect of good exercise is that you have to conduct your exercise. You have to do your exercise in the right posture. So if you're running, you should run upright with your stomach, belly tucked in. So you should run taller than you always are. If you're exercising on a flat position, you should ensure that the body is full length flat on the ground. It should be cushioned on the ground without straining any part of the body, without causing misalignment of your spine. So exercise should ensure that if you're running, you run upright. If you're sitting, you should sit upright. And if you're lying flat on the ground, please be cushioned fully on all the prominent body parts so that you do not strain your spine. The other aspect of good exercise, it has to be regular. You have to do it on a daily basis, and you should cultivate to do it at the same time all the time. So if your exercise is devoted to being done in the morning, ensure it's morning all the time. By the way, the morning hours are the best times to do your exercise. That is a time when we have humidified air, ionized air, which is the best for your health. So please do exercise at regular intervals. And we say do it most of the days, at least 5 days in a week, not less than 30 minutes in each session. And while we are doing that, we want your exercise to improve from a warm-up to high intensity and then later to recovery. So exercise that does not attain intensity has not achieved its objective. Then exercise should be done outdoors. We do not recommend indoor exercises. We need to move out and face the atmosphere and the full range of gases in the atmosphere. So the body is suited to breathe in atmospheric air, where we have the right combination of air and the ventilation is not strained at all, and you're able to move spaciously so that you can exercise your entire body. So it should be outdoor exercises. The good thing about outdoor exercises is that the topography on the ground is not even. So you find yourself moving down towards descents and moving up on ascents, and sometimes moving on flat ground. And this is very good for your balance. You enhance your balance by exercising on ground that is not even. We also benefit from the gravity when you're going downhill, and we benefit from the same gravity when you're going uphill. If you're going downhill, you strengthen your bones. If you're going uphill, you're strengthening your heart. You're also increasing compliance of your lungs. So I also said exercise should be done in the morning. That is the best time when air is ionized and there's adequate oxygen, because towards the morning, our plants are utilizing oxygen at night, and therefore there is low oxygen tension. So as you compete for this oxygen with the plants in an area or in an environment that has low oxygen tension, your lungs expand in order to adapt to low oxygen tension atmosphere, so that anytime you'll be exercising when there is a lot of oxygen, you find you do not have any difficulty in exercising. You need also to exercise on an empty stomach. Please do not go for exercise on a full stomach. So if you want to achieve a good health, exercise when your stomach is empty, because by so doing, you burn excess energy and any stored energy. And this is very good for management of weight. Now, the other aspect you need to achieve with exercise is to ensure that you're breathing with your nose all the time. Close your mouth when you're exercising, and ensure that you're breathing through your nose. By so doing, you're going to expand your lungs, and you're going to benefit from purification of the air, moisturizing of the air, and also warming of the air, because it's passing through the nose. Such advantages are not found when you're breathing through the mouth. It's better you exercise slowly and you close your mouth than increase the intensity of the exercise and continue to breathe with your mouth. Nose breathing is recommended for proper exercise routine. And the last thing you need to observe, please do not go for exercise to compete. So if you're going out for jogging with anybody who is outdoing you in exercise, please stop that. Good exercise that will produce dopamine for healing and for reward should not be competitive. It should be voluntary, and you should be at peace with yourself. So if you exercise to compete, you are activating what we call the sympathetic nervous system, which is destructive to your body. A moment of exercise is supposed to be a moment of healing, and healing cannot occur when you're competing. Now, the third commandment is water. And we have aspects of drinking water we have to look at. I know we shall have time to discuss water in details, but for now we are looking at the aspects of proper cleaning water. Number one, it has to be clean. Ensure that the water you're drinking is clean drinking water. So it can be boiled, but it should not be treated with chemicals. Please don't attempt to treat it with chemicals. The best mode of cleaning water is by boiling it. So if you don't have the advantage of tapping rainwater, which we say it is clean water because it condensed in the atmosphere through the same mechanism of evaporation, which is boiling. So if you don't have the advantage of tapping rainwater, then you can boil your water. Ensure that you are taking your water at the same temperature your body has. So your standard body temperature is 37 degrees. So you should not take water that is colder than 37 degrees, because you're going to lose a lot of energy to raise the temperature of this water to the one recommended or required by the body for it to be useful in your system. And remember that water has very high specific heat capacity. So to raise the temperature of water by a single Kelvin, you're losing a lot of energy. And we do not want to lose energy, because energy is the means through which we are able to compete in very harsh climates. So please save your energy. Take water when it is in the optimal conditions, such as temperature, 37 degrees. Then your water has to be adequate. We need to ensure that we are taking adequate water. And how do you know that you're taking adequate water? Water should be weight-based. So we normally say that for every 1 kg of weight, you're supposed to take 35 to 40 mLs of water. So this would mean somebody who is 70 kgs should take at least 2.8 liters within 24 hours. So this will cater for the maintenance water, the water that should always be in the body at all times, and should also cater for the water that is wasted or that is eliminated out of the body. So we need to keep adequate amounts of water, because water, as opposed to food, is a cleanser. And therefore, we need not to take the body to the level that it has to wait to give you a thirst trigger in order for you to take water. Because by so doing, the concentration of fluids in the body is so much, and that will cause inflammation. So there are people who say that you wait for a thirst signal. Please don't wait for a thirst signal, because at that time, the cells are inflamed, and that is why they are giving you a signal. So the other thing, water should be taken timely. We don't take water all the times. So everything should be done with moderation, because water should not be taken together with food. If you're taking water, ensure it's 1 hour before you eat your food, or if you have eaten your food, you have to wait for 3 hours and you can take your water at that time. But do not mix water with food, because that one will now dilute the chemicals that should be digesting your food. Then, for those people who are sick, you can take distilled water. Distilled means it's water free of minerals, because it's the best detoxifier. So if you happen to get distilled water, by the way, rainwater is distilled. So you just need to warm it, take that water, it helps to detoxify your body. But if you're not sick, you can take mineral water, because you also need the minerals in that water. Wonderful. So that is the third commandment. Let's go to the fourth commandment, that is sunshine. So a very important source of energy that God has provided in the skies. So we have aspects of good or proper sunbathing, and one is you have to expose your body maximally. At least most of your skin should be exposed to the sun. If not so, ensure that you're putting on light clothing to ensure that your skin comes into contact with your body. So by so doing, you're able to synthesize very important hormones such as a vitamin called vitamin D. It's also a hormone very important for your immunity and also for deposition of bone mass, so that you have very strong bones. Okay? Remember, you may not benefit from certain minerals such as calcium that you need if you do not have adequate amounts of vitamin D, which you can get from the sun, because the cholesterol under your skin is converted to vitamin D. And that is why babies uh, who are not taken out for sunbathing, they might have bones that are bowed or bones that are weak. Okay, they might also delay to achieve certain developmental milestones, such as sitting down or standing or running. The other aspect that we need to look at for good sunbathing is that please do not expose your eyes directly. Either close your eyes when you're basking in the sun or face downwards away from the sun. Your eyes should not look at the sun directly. But for the rest of the body, it's okay because it is not as sensitive as your eyes. Then the best sun to utilize is the morning and the evening sun. So this is a sun that is wonderful for stimulating your nerves and also the autonomic nervous system. So please make use of that sun in the morning and the other one in the evening, and be in the sun at least for 30 minutes. And this is adequate for your daily dosage of the sun rays. Then ensure you're well hydrated when you're basking in the sun. People who work in the sun may not have to choose the periods when they need to be out. As long as you're working in a sunny climate, just ensure you're well hydrated. And then the most effective sun's rays are those rays that penetrate into your skin unobstructed. So you cannot say that you're going to sunbathe through the glass windows or through the window panes of your car. Anytime you bask, when the sun's rays are passing through another medium, so you'll not be benefiting from certain sun rays that are obstructed. Remember, sun rays is not just the light that you see. We have different wavelengths of sun's rays. And sometimes glass obstructs the UVB, which is very good for your immunity. So we need to ensure that when we go for sunbathing, we are not obstructed, we are receiving the direct benefits of the sun. Remember somewhere else that Jesus is called the Son of Righteousness. And some of these laws also represent Jesus. Jesus is the bread of life, so good nutrition. Jesus is the breath of life, so fresh air. And we'll look at all these commandments. Jesus is the Son of Righteousness, and so the sun is good for health. Now let's go to the fifth commandment, which is temperance. And what do you mean by temperance? These are the aspects of temperance, that we are not going to do anything in excess. So we will be balanced or moderate in all things. So even if it's food, we are not going to eat excess. Even if it's basking in the sun, we are not going to do it excessively because it can bring sunburn. And by the way, there are people who have fair skin and they need sunscreens or anything to obstruct them from direct sun's rays because their skin is sensitive to the sun. So the kind of basking we are seeing, it does not, it will be regulated if the person has conditions of the skin that do not allow direct sunbathing, such as albinos. So please, we are supposed to avoid excesses in everything. So when it comes to eating, we need to be moderate. Drinking water, we need to be moderate. When it comes to sleeping is good, but we need to sleep only the recommended hours. If we oversleep, then we are hurting our body. And too much of anything is poisonous. Then the other aspect of temperance, we are supposed to avoid toxins. For example, we should not smoke, we should not use drugs, we should not take alcohol. We are supposed to avoid anything that is going to intoxicate your body. So all sorts of poisons we need to avoid them. Anything that is foreign to the body, we need to avoid it because it's going to injure our system. By the way, for those who are in marriage also, remember I've been teaching something to do with excesses among the people who are in marriage, including sexual intimacy. Too much of it, for men, it will bring all those bad things we discussed, and I'll find the video in this YouTube channel. So avoid excesses in everything. So that is what we call temperance. Then the other aspect of temperance is we are supposed to keep personal safety. We need to be intelligent of our personal safety. So if you're walking in the dark, and you can be attacked by robbers, be careful. If you're walking close to the road and you know a drunk driver might knock you down, please, we need to be careful. All these are temperate measures we need to observe. So be intelligent about your personal safety. Be balanced. Have balanced associations. When you're interacting with others, please have a balanced mind. Measure to what extent you can be friends with anybody. Be careful because most people are evil, they can hurt you. So have balanced associations and be intelligent when interacting with people. And then keep a safe environment. Ensure that the environment you're living in is clean, it's healthy. So this is part of the temperance we are talking about. So a very important commandment when it comes to protecting your health. Now let's go to the sixth commandment. The sixth commandment. This is air, fresh air. So Jesus is the breath of life. Air is also important for survival. And these are the aspects of proper breathing. If you want to benefit from the atmospheric air, these are the measures you need to observe. Number one, the best air can only be inhaled in the natural environment. So it is the air outside the towns, outside areas of pollution. So if you go deep into nature where there are forests or rivers around or mountains, so that is the best air. It fulfills all the conditions of good air. So it is clean, it is not dusty, does not have any fumes of any chemicals. So the other aspect of good breathing and good air is that the air should be fresh. By fresh, we mean it should not have dust. It should not have an odor. It should not be malodorous. So if you're living where there's filth, garbage, the other animals also that are very filthy like pigs, that kind of malodorous air is bad for your brain. Remember, the sense of breathing, the sense of smell is very important to the brain. That is why we have the nostrils located together with smell, so that the air we are going to breathe in is fresh and does not have bad odors. The other aspect of good air, it has to be, you have to breathe through your nose. So when God created man, he inspired the breath of life into his nostrils, not into his mouth. So good breathing should be nose breathing. So cover your mouth when you're not using it for eating and talking and smiling. Next, ensure that you breathe from your belly or from your stomach. So the stomach should be involved in breathing. If you ever observed babies, when they are breathing, they move the abdominal muscles. And that is how to tell that you have what we call proper breathing. So nose breathing is good because your nose is an air conditioner. It prepares the air for diffusion when it gets into your lung. So the air you breathe through your nostrils is moistened, is humidified, is filtered, it is warmed. All these aspects you don't benefit from mouth breathing. Now, the other thing, the most important air has to be open air. Please avoid indoor air. But when you're indoors, ensure your room is ventilated. You open the windows to allow aeration, because indoor air can be damp, it can be musty, it can also be moldy, it can give you allergies, including asthma. Then another technique that you need to observe during, if you want to have proper breathing, is to hold your breath. So by holding your breath, we mean you breathe in and then try to restrain yourself from breathing out immediately. So this will strengthen your lungs. It will improve your blood supply. It will also improve your cognitive functions. Then the other thing, you're supposed to observe good posture when you're breathing. So ensure you're always sitting upright. If you're walking upright, and if you're standing, ensure you're standing upright. So how do you know that? Always tuck in your abdomen when you're walking or sitting upright. So I also said the most important part of the air is the morning air, because it's ionized, it's the best for breathing. It improves your blood vessels because it is easily converted to nitric oxide, which dilates your blood vessels. It lowers your blood pressure and ensures that you have a very low heart rate, which is an added advantage. Now let's go to the 7th commandment. We call it rest. Now, did you know that rest is very important? And without good rest, you can have all those chronic diseases we always talk about: cancer, diabetes, hypertension, asthma, arthritis. Rest is very important. But how do you know that you're having good rest? The best rest, God has designed that we have daytime and nighttime. And God has designed that at nighttime you're supposed to rest. In fact, if you read in, I think, John 9 verse 4 and John 11 verse 9, Jesus says we have 12 days for working, so ensure you use your night time properly. The best time to sleep is at night. I'll tell you the physiology of sleeping at night, and I'll tell you the benefits, what happens to the body when you take advantage of nighttime. So somebody who sleeps during the day is not like somebody who sleeps at night. So they may be sleeping for the same duration of time, but then the quality of the sleep is different because of shifting the times of sleeping. Then good rest has to be regular, so you have to ensure that you are sleeping every day, the same time, all the time at night. Then it has to be timely. Please time your resting time. So we should not have cases of sometimes you're sleeping at 8 p.m., sometimes you're sleeping at 9, sometimes at midnight. You have a circadian rhythm. You have a clock in your body that monitors how you do things. And you have to establish an order so that you become predictable even to your own body. You know, some people are disorderly, and there is no disease you ever defeat if you're disorderly. You have to have a predictable time of sleeping, and that program has to be fed into the body, and the body will synchronize that program with its functions so that you can enjoy health. We also have to ensure that we have at least between 7 to 8 hours of sleep on a daily basis. So this is for adults, because the sleeping time will change depending on whether you're an adult, a baby, a pregnant mother. Pregnant mothers have more time for sleeping. Babies also sleep more time, not less than 18 hours if they are newborns. And they only wake up to breastfeed and then go back to sleep. So, but for adults, ensure you have at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So if you're not going to utilize these 7 to 8 hours properly, no, you're going to get sick. And you know, when you get sick, you'll be admitted in a hospital. And in a hospital, there are no chairs. There are only beds. The reason why people recuperate better at hospital is because they have rested enough. They have adequate rest. But why should you come to pay for sleep in hospital when you could have slept at home adequately and routinely and avoided being admitted in future. Okay? We have to ensure that we do not have excesses. There's some people who want to get money at night and during the day, but you're going to collect that money and take it to hospitals to sleep there, and also cater for that sleep with that money that you're looking for when you refuse to sleep. Then the other condition we have to fulfill for good sleep, you have to sleep in a noiseless room. Ensure there is no disturbance. When you go to sleep, you've gone to sleep. It's not going to make noise or to have discussions for those who have families. So if you move towards your bed, be in a sleeping mood. Avoid noise, avoid light. So the rooms should be switched off of any lights, and there should be no lights that are interfering, because even if you close your eyes and there is light, light will still penetrate into your eyes. And there are structures in your eyes that only have blood supply once you close the eyes and you're in a dark room. For example, the sclera of your eye. You find your sclera is white during the day, but when you close your eyes in a dark room, it gets red. So that is when the blood vessels pop up. They are sensitive to light during the day. They go away so that you're able to perform the functions of the eye during the day. So please do not deprive your eye of very important blood supply at night simply because you're putting the lights on. Ensure the lights are always off. Then ensure that the sleep is uninterrupted. Please have a deep sleep. So I do not know which other activities you're going to do at night when you go to sleep. And that is why we also need to commit our lives to God so that you can have peace of mind when you're going to sleep, so that you do not have dreams, strange dreams and nightmares. So if there is any activity that you do not accomplish during the day, please put it aside, surrender yourself to sleep, and do not think about it, because it will come up in your dreams. Then the room you're sleeping should be well ventilated. It should have good aeration, because we need to have a lot of fresh air when we are sleeping. So for the same reason, we are not supposed to cover our heads when we are sleeping, and ensure that at least there is an area where air is coming in. So the room should not be stuffy, it should be aerated. Avoid stress when you go to sleep. Ensure when you go to sleep on an empty stomach. Some people will never heal from the diseases they have because their stomachs are full when they are going to sleep. Because the stomach is also supposed to rest. If the stomach does not rest, do not assume that the rest of the body is going to rest. Please go to sleep on an empty stomach. We'll have a lot of time to discuss these things in a future presentation. Let's go to commandment number 8, trusting God. Wow, it's very important to trust in God. Why? Number one reason why you have to have faith in God is because He is the maker of the human body and He is the great physician. For the simple reason that some people have surrendered their hearts and their bodies to God, they have healed from diseases. Because this one gives them peace of mind. And for those who trust in God, there is absence of fear. They have a form of courage that is only associated with people who believe in a very powerful, intelligent, supernatural being. So that is the benefit we see in Christians, and a lot of research has been done. It has been found Christians are better off in facing challenges and in overcoming anxiety, depression, and stress disorders because they have surrendered their lives to God. So that is an added benefit as far as health is concerned. Okay? It improves the immunity. It makes your body to be at what we call parasympathetic nervous system. That is the resting system, the system that heals your body at night. So when you have committed everything to God and you know God is your protector, you don't have to worry about somebody breaking into your gate or breaking into your door, because you have surrendered your life to God. So Christians have a lot of peace, and this peace boosts their immune system. That is how they're able to overcome diseases. Then the other important aspect of trusting God is prayer and meditation. By the way, the time for prayer and meditation is a time for healing. It's a time for connection. It's a time for casting aside everything else and committing yourself to a supernatural being. So it's a moment of relaxation. Anybody who is coming from genuine prayer, where they have devoted a lot of time, whether it's in thinking or meditating about the Word of God or about the work of God, they come down from that prayer session or meditation session healed, and their immunity is strong, and they have peace of mind, and this peace is permeating in all the body cells. They are very strong. So the other aspect of divine trust is full surrender. So as long as you surrender fully to God, you have the peace of mind, you have everything. So that is why those who trust in God, you have a very strong will and confidence, even to do things. So you are able to meet challenges, to face the uphills of life. When people are getting depressed, when people are worried about rising fuel prices, when people are worried about what to eat, Jesus has promised, do not get troubled about tomorrow. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and this gives them assurance and also boosts the health of their bodies. Now, commandment number 9. This is the penultimate commandment. It's called earthing. Earthing is also called ground. And what is grounding or earthing? Grounding or earthing simply means it's a wellness practice that involves direct skin contact with the earth. So since when did you have a direct contact with the earth? So this includes walking barefoot on grass or sand, which transfers natural electrons from the earth's surface, from the ground into the body, potentially reduces inflammation, stress, and improving sleep. It is also a psychological technique used to manage anxiety by anchoring oneself in the present moment. How wonderful is grounding? There are many benefits of grounding, as we'll come to discuss in a later presentation. But please know that there is a problem with insulating yourself with shoes all the time. You never come into contact with the ground. And let me tell you, the largest component of your minerals, the largest component of mineral ions in your body is a mineral we call iron that is very close to your body surface. So it is the one that gives your blood a red pigmentation. We also have at the core of the earth the ion that determines the magnetic field of the earth. So anytime you come into contact with the surface of the earth, you are actually bonding with the earth. So through the two materials, the ion in your body and the ion in the earth, at the core of the earth's surface. So please note that you gain the negative electrons from the earth, and they come and dilute your positive electrons, which are generators of free radicals that cause inflammation to your body. So that is how important grounding or coming into contact with earth's surface is. So we need to have a moment to ground your feet to the ground. And you can ground your feet, you can touch trees, you can cultivate with bare hands, you can. So all these are forms of grounding, coming into contact with nature, and most especially your feet. coming into contact with the ground. So we have some few benefits of grounding here. We cannot discuss everything, but please know that there's a massive influx of electrons from the Earth, and these electrons are antioxidants. They come to neutralize reactive oxygen species. Remember, during the day, your body is in what we call oxidative stress. So your body is being stressed, there's a lot of inflammation, you're damaging cells. And to reduce this inflammation, this oxidative stress, you need to deionize your body with negative electrons from the Earth. And there's an abundance of these electrons. That is why you see when it is raining, there are so many insects that come out of the ground because of being stimulated by those charges, and they come out, and you even find even the calves of the cows are running, animals are running, they're enjoying the moment. It's only human beings who do not come out to ground. So the best time to do your grounding is early in the morning when the ground is wet, because conductivity is high for those charges. So grounding will set the body up for electrical potential as the Earth, so it will give your body the same electrical potential as the Earth. And so that will also help to shield your body from electromagnetic fields. You know, there are so many EMFs in the atmosphere. You have a phone, you have a computer, you have a television, there's a Wi-Fi in your home. Maybe there are those who have implants in them, and all these are emitting radioactivity and radiations of all sorts. So they are creating magnetic fields. We also have towers near where you live. Now, the best chance you have is to do grounding so that you can neutralize these electromagnetic fields. And there are many more benefits you come to discuss, but most importantly, that it's good to note that earthing enables the best communication system in your body, the nervous system. It stimulates it, and it converts the sympathetic nervous system, which is a system of destruction or oxidation of body cells, to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the resting system that brings healing to your body. So it's a way of reducing stress in your communication system. Earthing is good. Please do earthing daily. Put your feet to the ground early in the morning, and you will enjoy the benefits. You even lower your blood pressure. These are things that I have done with patients, with myself, and I have seen radical changes happening to many diseases because of grounding. You're also going to improve your sleep by grounding. You're going to normalize your cortisol, because cortisol, it's a major culprit in inflammation, especially when you have high cortisol levels. You're going to thin your blood. So the blood that is usually viscous is going to become thinner with grounding, and you have very good circulation. And if you have very good circulation, now that one improves your heart health. So all these are benefits of earthing. We may not discuss all of them, but at a time in future, we'll have a presentation principally on that topic of grounding. Now let's go to the last commandment, the 10th commandment, which is resonance. So you may not have heard of resonance. And let's see what is resonance. It has to do with the human voice. So resonance, or what we call body resonance, is the vibration of the head and neck together with the nervous system to their highest amplitudes when exposed to high frequency sound that matches their natural frequency. So if you generate a high-pitched sound or voice, you cause vibration in all the articulating organs in the neck and head. And that vibration or reverberation is taken over by your nervous system, and it is disseminated across all the body systems. Now, voice becomes a regenerator, a rejuvenator. And that is why your voice is generated near your brain, because the brain should get the very first benefits of your voice. But you know what? This voice has to be high-pitched, and it has to cause vibrations or reverberations. So, you know, the articulators or the generators of your voice are distributed in your neck and across your face. So you're going to have what we call sinuses inside your cheeks, behind the nose, across your face, and all these are voice resonant areas. So once you make your voice with energy, and then that voice goes through all those channels all the way to the face and downwards, causing what we call reverberations, which are very good for brain health and for nerve stimulation. So for you to make a voice or to make a sound, you have to meet the following conditions. Number two, you have to be in the Earth's surface where we have gravity. You cannot make a voice without the effect of gravity. So people who go to outer space or areas with zero gravity, they cannot generate a voice or a sound. Okay, so there's a connection between voice production and gravity. You also cannot generate a voice in a vacuum, because the voice or the sound needs a medium of transmission. So you find that the organs that God has created to generate voice, they have fulfilled all the classes of matter that we have. So we have liquid, we have gaseous matter, we have liquid matter, we have solid matter in the voice production areas. So we have the fluids, we have the gases, air, and we have the solids, the bones and the cavities, where voice is generated. So God has ensured that we achieve all the benefits that we can from voice. And this can only come if we utilize our voice generators. So some of the benefits of resonance. So there's a difference between sound and resonance. Okay? Resonance comes from sound that is organized and that is generated at a high pitch, that is going to cause the organs that cause that sound to reverberate. And that is how you can benefit from sound if it produces this resonance. Okay, so the body is aligned with the Earth's electromagnetic field. So I say there is a connection between gravity, we'll come to discuss this, and voice production. So there's what we call Schumann resonance. You can read it for yourself. We'll discuss it at a later time, which improves concentration, creativity, emotional stability. So this is good for your brain health. Did you know that voice production, if it was organized, if it was deliberate, and if it was done with understanding, it improves the emotional and your nervous health. Okay, so resonant breathing as well improves heart rate. You have very good heart health with good voice production. And if this can be translated to singing, which is orderly, it is also rhythmical, and it is also melodious, then you can have the best benefits of voice. So human cells and tissues have a resonant frequency. So the body has the body tissues move. The stomach is moving, the heart is moving, you are moving, your hands are moving, the muscles are moving, all the body organs are moving. There's a constant line of communication every second that passes. And this constant communication can be enhanced by your voice. So that if that voice or if that sound is orderly, it's melodious, and it is strong, then you can stimulate movement. And that is why if people are singing and then they are working, they do not get tired easily. It's an energy generator by itself. So the best way to maintain the rhythm of those organs that are moving constantly is to stimulate them with your voice, especially a singing voice. So resonance is also linked with what we call improved posture. It reduces stress and gives you very strong muscles. So it's important to note that. Now, let me mention another aspect before I conclude this area of resonance, that listening and reciting musical sounds triggers the release of dopamine. So singing and listening to musical sounds, so these are orderly, melodious sounds. So they trigger dopamine, and by triggering dopamine, it gives you pleasure. And whenever dopamine is generated, if you had pain, it reduces your pain. So music can be a pain reliever. Okay? Sound relieves pain. That is when children are beaten, when they scream, that one masks the pain. And they're able to get away from the pain by screaming loud to mask that pain. So if music was played to a sick patient, you don't find this one in hospitals, but any sanitarium or any place where you are attending to a sick person, you need to play very cool music that is inspiring, that is giving hope, and this will take away the pain. It will also reduce the suffering, and it will improve outcome as far as recovery is concerned. So musical sounds will regulate emotions, will help to reduce anxiety, depression, stress, and this is important for recovering patients. Okay, so that is why you find in the supermarket, when they want you to linger on in the supermarket so that you can buy, you can have what we call impulsive buying. They play very slow, enticing music in the background. And you find yourself walking slowly, looking at the shelves, taking time with them. So that is the secret of music. The devil can also use music and those sounds to stimulate people into immorality. That is why music with a certain rhythm may also stimulate people to have or to have excesses in sexual activities. So this sound can be used in different ways. So God uses sound for recreative purposes and also creative purposes. By the way, God used sound to create. The voice he was using was causing a reverberation that was creating organisms. And we know there are certain organisms also that use their voice to recreate an object that is ahead of them, like a bat. It can generate a sound at a certain frequency that when it hits an object, it gives an echo backwards. That is called echolocation with the image of the object that it has encountered. And that is the way the bat is able to discern whether the object is bigger than it or smaller than it. So it can distinguish a predator from prey by interpreting the sound that has come back. So sound can create the form of an object. So do not forget that ultrasounds are used in hospitals to create images of internal organs. So that is how important sound is. It can recreate you. It can change your DNA. It can give you health if you use it in an organized, melodious, and suitable way. So good sound will also improve your memory and cognition. It will also enhance movement. So these are the important commandments of health that you need to know. At a later presentation, we are going to look at what we call each of those commandments. But for now, remember this mnemonic: new starter, nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, fresh air, rest, trusting God, earthing, and lastly, resonance. Bye bye, till we meet next time.